item 16, Regenerate Christchurch Q3 and 4 performance reports. And we have the Chair, Therese Arsenault, and Chief Executive, Ivan Iafata. Welcome, both.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for us to be here today, and for me it's my first time in front of you as the Chair of Regenerate Christchurch, so it's
welcome.
I'll note that this session at the moment is primarily focused on our quarters 3 and 4 reports, which of course by nature are retrospective, but I note that we also have a further discussion around the SPEs where we will take the opportunity to walk you through where we're headed as an organization. So we will take these reports as read, and if there are any questions, by all means.
Okay, thanks. And the draft SPE we're discussing later.
Yes.
Right, so just questions on these reports here.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much and welcome in your new role. And Ivan, nice to see you again. Okay, well I'll throw it open for questions really, if there's any. Glenn?
Yeah, thank you and welcome. It's good to see you. Just page 150, and great that the plan was obviously confirmed by the Minister or signed off the other week. So just page 152, just a wee question there really about what continue to assess means. This is in our schedule. We'll continue to assess the Otakaro Avon River Corridor transitional use applications, etc. So just if you can unpack a little bit.
Sure. As the Council is aware, Land Information New Zealand continues to administer on behalf of the Crown transitional use applications. Land Information New Zealand liaises with both council staff and Regenerate Christchurch on applications that it receives for transitional use in the Otakaro Avon River Corridor, and our advice is limited to providing a response in relation to whether those uses align with the vision and objectives in the regeneration plan.
It's more just in that kind of handover transitional phase between the agencies and, yep.
Correct. So as the Crown and Council work through the final steps of the Global Settlement Agreement, the arrangements that are in place are the arrangements that are currently in place. And once the Global Settlement Agreement is finalised, then as part of the transition of functions and responsibilities in developing a transition plan with Council staff, we'll be looking at the different types of arrangements based on where the final Global Settlement Agreement lands.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Aaron?
Just on that exact subject, Ivan, what's the number of people applying and what's the number of grants given for use?
I'd have to defer that question to Land Information New Zealand. We receive requests as and when Land Information New Zealand receives them. We're not privy to all of the requests, only the requests that we receive. I understand that Land Information New Zealand only provides those requests to us when they consider that they have a completed application. So I would anticipate that they receive a greater number of front-end requests. Right. The number of those that come through to Regenerate Christchurch would number less than half a dozen a month. Right. In terms of the requests that we respond to, and we only provide responses in relation to the Otakaro Avon River Corridor, not any requests for the rest. Land outside of the river corridor itself.
Oh, okay.
For example, in the Port Wheels or in Brooklands.
Okay, because it would be, just from our government's perspective, be good to know the numbers of just total people requesting to do things, a ballpark of what they are, and then how many are actually being allowed to use and do stuff, because we don't really have a lens on it. Just really purely for information purposes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Dion?
Yeah, just on page, it's 154 of our report. I think it's page 2 in your table thing, the status report. Anyway, point 2, deliver further Central City work program. Your actions that you say here provide specific advice will be provided to the Minister and Christchurch City Council on other interventions which aim to unlock regeneration opportunities. I just wanted to understand, is that new stuff that's going to happen, or is this more of what we've already had and that potentially that this council has declined to do? Or I just want to know, are we rehashing some of the same stuff, or are we looking at game-changing stuff?
Look, it's more a reflection of the work that came out of the Central City Momentum Advice, the work that Christchurch NZ developed, and the council's lead on the Central City Action Plan. And through the Central City Action Plan, there are a number of action items within there to which each of the organisations contribute to. There are a number of projects within each of those initiatives which Regenerate Christchurch supports or contributes to. And so what the report is attempting to do is acknowledge that the council is leading the development of the action plan, and our role at this stage, given that we've delivered the Central City Momentum Advice, is to support and contribute to the work where appropriate.
Okay. So there's nothing new specifically?
There could be new work that comes out of the various agencies who are considering the work that needs to occur within the Central City, but that's not a matter that Regenerate Christchurch drives. That's something which comes out of the collective approach of the Central City Steering Group.
Okay. Right, thank
Yanni?
you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit similar to that. On page 154, there's two amber dots, and there's a TBC and a December 18 that's amber. And I know it says that the board members have met with the Minister and the Mayor in April and May, and then the Mayor again. And I'm sort of trying to kind of get some sense of those objectives, if they're just been put on hold and you want direction from us what to do, or whether you're actually going through a separate process of understanding what could be done through the Regeneration Act while we've got it in place.
Yeah. So there's probably two parts to the response that I'll provide to your question, Yanni.
Right.
The first is that the Central City Action Plan and the chief executives of the various agencies are working to ensure a coordinated approach to the various responsibilities that we have in the Central City, which came out of the Central City Momentum Advice and we contribute to. So in terms of are we doing anything different or new in that space, if requested to, then we would consider a request to deliver new work. I think the second part of your question is, whilst we have the Greater Christchurch Regeneration Act, are there other opportunities to use the powers within the Act for Christchurch, is something that we would probably suggest holding over to the conversation that we will have subsequently on the Statement of Performance Expectations.
Is there likely to be a kind of a new current state assessment, like an updated current state assessment, or are we just all now going through the Central City Action Plan about what we want to achieve?
So under the Central City Action Plan, one of the actions under there is monitoring, and it's probably, in terms of your question, I'd suggest referring that question to council staff who are responsible for leading the Central City Action Plan. One of the steps in there is updated monitoring.
I just think the thing that's really hard to get your head around is someone does an assessment, comes up with a series of objectives or measures, and then they present it, and then that goes into some other process, and then they come up with a new set of measures and objectives and another monitoring framework, and it just feels like we're going round and round and round, and then we're getting the criticism of not enough being done in the Central City, but it's still really hard to see what we're actually trying to achieve. And I don't know whether you guys are getting any clarity through these processes that are all ongoing.
So given that the council is currently the lead organisation on the Central City Action Plan, you might want to request an update from your officials on the Central City Action Plan, and in particular the monitoring components of that. If as a result of that, or through some other mechanism, the council wished to request for Regenerate Christchurch to undertake an updated assessment or to do other work, that would be something that the board would consider.
Okay. And just the final question was in regard to, sorry, I just can't find the page, but there was some reference to you doing work around housing. Page 152. Delivery Central City Work Program, June 19. Regenerate Christchurch contributed further scoping the activity required to assist private and public sectors to deliver Central City homes and increase the number of residents in Christchurch. Again, just trying to understand, is that a discrete piece of work that you're doing that we've seen or we're going to get, or is that something that's now just it's a Central City Action Plan? And I guess the question really is then, well, if that's the Central City Action Plan, why are we getting you to do it?
Sure. So there was some earlier work that Regenerate Christchurch had initiated, but all of that is being folded into the Central City Action Plan and fits under the council's Project 8011 project.
Okay, thanks. So basically, Yanni, the question needs to come back to council staff. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Got a resolution to note the report. Do I have a mover? Moved Andrew, seconded Mike. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All in favour say aye. Aye.